Get the Intel, the podcast meant for those of us trying to find out what the hell is going on in the field. Here we discuss tools, techniques, and approaches that you can implement to streamline operations and let you focus on your craft.
Hello, Chad Gill here. I'm the host of the Get the Intel podcast, where I talk with leaders in facility management, architecture, contracting, and more. So Workforce Recon is a sponsor of this podcast. Recon is a project tracking software that connects the office to the field crews. Their app, Field Recon, is built with a field-first mentality, developed by contractors for contractors. It includes time and asset tracking, messaging, job documentation, and scheduling all in one place. So if you're tired of finding out what happened days later, check us out at workforcerecon.com and see your operation in real time. Laminin Coach is another sponsor of this podcast. Laminin is a business coaching company with a focus on contractors in and around construction. We not only help with proposing solutions and methods, but we implement them in your business as well. After all, good ideas are of no use until they're implemented. So visit us at laminincoach.com to see the full range of our services. All right, well, joining me today is Freddy Deen. He is the president of Wild Construction since 2019. Freddy and his team at Wild Construction are not just any roofing company. They are proud to be recognized as a Master Elite shingle installers with American-made GAF. With over 15 years of experience in the industry, Freddy is here to share his wealth of knowledge and passion for making things happen in the world of construction. So, Freddy, thanks for coming in. And I'm sure you're glad to be inside. You're coming from Minnesota, right?
Yes, I am, Chad. Very cold here, single digits temperatures the last few days, but today we have a warm up about 31, 32 degrees. So exciting.
Yeah, my daughter came home for Thanksgiving and convinced us to start doing cold plunging. I don't know if you can even do that outside where you are.
They have it, but you have to pretty much do it indoors. I mean, anything in the winter here, it's just going to freeze.
Yeah,
It's too cold.
You're just sitting on an ice block, which is not nearly as much fun. I'm not sure
Very
jumping in
true.
is fun either, but nonetheless, I don't know. I guess it's good for you.
Yeah,
So
it is. Revitalizes organs, right?
it does something. I don't know. I mean, I get out of it and I'm just ready to start feeling again, Wait a couple hours just so you can go to the bathroom.
Sure.
Yeah, you don't want to try and impress anybody coming out of that cold plunge.
No,
Uh,
you don't.
so how did you get into what was your path into roofing? I mean,
My path into roofing, God, it started back in 2008. I had a buddy that was in the industry. He just started his construction company, asked me to come in and telemarket. At that time, that was, the recession back there, a lot of foreclosed properties. He asked me to call these REO agents, real estate owned agents that ran these big foreclosure properties. So they would go in, renovate them, get them all fixed up, make them nice and spiffy, go to sell them. That's what I first did. I started for hours upon hours just contacting REO agents back in the day, setting up meetings, going to, meet them, shake hands, just put a face to the name, and just kind of worked from there. And it's been quite the expansion ever since.
yeah, telemarketing, that's right up there with bill collecting. I mean, I don't think it's just telemarketing is just brutal.
It was tough. I guess my options back in 2008, that just seemed like the most viable path to go in the industry. But yeah, it is not for everybody, that's for sure.
So where does the name Wild Construction come from?
Wow, construction comes from, so that same company I went to go telemarket for. I was really good friends with my boss at that time. I helped him grow his company up to about 15 million. At that point in time, I was their director of sales and marketing. So I would go out, I'd meet all these agents, just help expand, promote our company. We ended up going in and my boss wanted to do a radio show, right? So we go into the iHeart Media Studios there in St. Louis Park. We do just a test run, an hour test run. Went pretty well. Afterwards, got done with that evening, was contemplating myself. I asked my boss to the next day. I was like, no problem. I'll do the radio show with you, but I want a little bit of ownership in the company. And literally, he fired me that day too. So at that point, back in 2012, I didn't know what I was going to do or anything. So I was a big hockey fan, very passionate about the Wild local team that was here. So I just got the DBA, Wild Construction, at that time. Didn't use it until many years later, but I kept paying the annual fees and whatnot. Went to work for a larger conglomerate, learned a lot more about construction, HOAs, metal fabrication, and whatnot. And then eventually, I just came to where we're doing so much business. I asked my business partner, who was my number one carpenter, to partner up, and we're just bringing so much in. And we started in 2019, hit the ground running.
Man, that's fantastic. Yeah, it's
So,
yeah, it's crazy. It's like I want a little ownership. Well, no, that's a tough.
yeah,
That's a
we're
nice.
still friends. I still golf with him every year. So, great guy. I got nothing bad to say about him. It's just business at the end of the
Yeah,
day.
and like you said, I mean, it's at least he didn't him and haw about it. I mean, he was honest with you up front. There you
Yep.
go. Got your answer. Um,
Yes, I did.
so roofing in Minnesota, that's got to be pretty seasonal, right?
It is generally manufacturer specs that you want to have a 40-degree low temperature for installation, just so the shingles and they can adhere, they can settle, they can flatten out. So this year we just stopped. We did our last roof, I think, retail and insurance probably about a week ago. It's starting to get in the single degree temperatures around here, and then we'll wait till spring. The last few years we really haven't had a spring though. It just all of a sudden it goes from winter, and then that
Boom.
same month it's going to be 80 degrees, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, generally the spring. So I mean, our season probably goes strong, I'd say April through October.
Wow. So what do people do if they're building and then it gets too cold to put a roof on? Is there a temporary roof you can use, or what? How do you
Oh, they
get?
still install it. You see all the big builders around our area, they're still installing it. Dead winter, it could be 2 degrees outside. Yes, they're still up there installing. If it has to get done, it can get done. It'll pass code too, but it's just generally if I'm doing something with a homeowner, I feel responsible. So we want to have that, adhere by what the manufacturer specs state. So any of that stuff, sure. If I build a garage or something in the winter, if I do something with one of our foreclosure clients and have to build a roof, absolutely would do it, but just try to err on the right side of caution.
Well, what do you see as the biggest challenges that you're running into, either running the business or being, doing what you're doing as you're growing at this rate?
Working too much in the business, need to implement systems, find people that can more or less do tasks that I'm doing daily, with myself and my business partner. That's, you have to implement something along those lines where they can do it when you're not present around it. So, I mean, that has probably been while construction's largest gap in growth. We're going to try this year. We're going to go all in, as they say, and just try to implement some more stuff, find a new CRM, and do some more marketing
Yeah.
as well.
Sounds like a very common, we get it's a common theme. I mean, it's the nature of the, I don't want to say feast and famine, but when you're growing so fast, it's, you're just kind of building the airplane while you're trying to fly it. And, it is what it is, and there's ways around it, but like I said, and again, that's a better problem to have than the lack of sales or, can't find help and stuff like that, which are still challenges, but,
Very true.
yeah.
Very true.
So what do you guys, what's your, what's kind of like your goals for next year?
Goals for next year, we'd like to do between 8 and 10 million. Um, we did a little over 4 million this past year. We've decreased probably the number of projects that we're doing, and we were predominantly doing residential homes, right? So I mean, I could very easily do the $4 million HOA association roof, and probably take the even less time than it would to do all of that. But generally, we're doing about 250 plus projects a year, so we're just really going down again. For next year, we're gonna double down on some radio advertising. We don't do any SEO stuff. We've done everything pretty much organic. We do get a lot of business from the Google around our surrounding area, which is nice. The radio advertising is nice, and then you get a lot of word of mouth. I mean, we're doing north of 100 claims a year, so I mean, you're touching all those people. They have friends, family, so just trying to gear up for next year, make sure we have the right team, the right people in place, and just go for it.
Do you find that there's any particular thing that helps you retain the people you have better than your competitors?
You just have to be nice, forthcoming, keep them involved with everything that's going on in the business too. I mean, just even saying thank you at the end of the day to somebody goes a long, long way.
It is funny. It's like, people will come for the money, but they won't stay for it.
Yeah.
Definitely more for them. It's more about the idea of, wanting to belong to a place and feel like what you do matters.
Sure.
It's,
That makes sense.
I think it's hard to, and I think part of that makes it also what's hard to be the child of a contractor, because you ride around town and like, hey, I did the roof on that building. Hey, we did the siding on that building. Like, that's great,
You
Dad.
know,
We just go to
that
town.
happens all the time, Chad. I'm driving around the city like, oh, I did this one, I did that project, I touched this one. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, and my kids are just like, can we just go, man? I know you did it. Just talk about anything else. I'm like, oh, I can put on an audio book. And they're like, never mind. Tell us about the project.
There you go.
Either way, they're
Yeah.
going to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, as you do, Chad, I have passion about it. So I mean, when you're talking about the project, it's easy. So if I go out and have cocktails with another contractor, I mean, we wouldn't stop talking, trying to pick up nuggets here or there of like what they're doing or what they're implementing, maybe that I can use in our day-to-day business.
It's funny, man. I think that one of the reasons I love trade work so much is the fact that at the end of the day, you can turn around and look at what you did and see it. You can code away all day, you can reconcile checkbooks all day, but at the end of the day, you can look, it doesn't look like you did anything. I mean, you did, but you just can't see it. In trades, you can see what you accomplished every day, which I love.
Helping people out and adding value.
Yeah, it's not a bad way to spend a lifetime.
Not bad at all.
Well, man, this has been great. I appreciate you coming on the show and kind of talking to us about it a little bit. I mean, I'm glad it's colder there than it is here. I'm happy to be on my. There's people in Florida who probably can't imagine you can live up there, but it's I've been through there once before. It's beautiful, but like I said, it's definitely chilly.
Summer months are fantastic. Golf courses are great. It's a little tough, a lot of simulators in the winter for golf. And
Yeah, those things are great.
eventually, summer's just gorgeous here. It really is.
Yeah, because how hot will it get?
I mean, you'll get in the hundreds for sure in the summer. And dog days of summer are probably August around here. You
That's
can
good
have
stuff.
a consecutive week all in the hundreds. So those places, you don't feel too bad. But if you go down to like Arizona in the summer when they're 120 degrees, it just makes it nice.
Yeah.
But then there's 5 or 6 months out of the year where it's pretty tough.
Yeah, I think we were supposed to fly in Arizona one time. The flight was delayed. I'm like, why is it delayed? Like, that's too hot to land.
Crazy.
That's the air is too thin to hold the plane up. You're like, man. Well, I say we wait then. We'll go in at night. I really
Yeah,
want the whole day plane up, so we'll be good.
definitely take their advice.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, man, yeah, doubling next year. That's quite the challenge. I wish you luck with it. That sounds both doable and daunting. And like I said, it'll be coming at you fast and furious.
Absolutely, Chad. I do appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. We'll check in with you again soon. I'll see how that progress goes.
Yeah, love to do this again in one calendar year, see where we're at.
I'll put it on the calendar now, man. Thank you.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
The
Thank you.
recording has stopped.
All right, man. That's it. So it's just trying
Awesome.
to catch up and
Yeah.
just see where we are. And I'll put it on there for a year from now. Kind of see revisit, see where you are. That'd be a cool thing to do. Kind of
That would be cool.
see how things go. But that's awesome, man.
That's cool. So everything played out all right, went good.
Yeah, everything came out. It didn't any click ups here. They say it goes up to a group and then they edit it if they need to and stuff like that. And and then when it posts, they'll make sure and send it to you. And if you my assistant might reach out and ask for your social media and stuff like that. And that way hopefully it'll pick up and get you some people, viewers in your area. That'd be great.
Absolutely, man. Well, that was really cool, Chad. I do appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Do I have your contact information?
I can send it and the follow-up email and stuff like that. And
Okay.
I can send you a thing about the remote people we do.
Yeah, please do. I've got a gentleman in my company that we specifically brought on to help us start these processes and procedures, and I'd love to give it to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the normal way we do it, and I'm happy to share it with you and stuff like that. I mean, it's we just take a position and we just write down everything that they do, and then we color code it and say, okay, well, here's everything Freddie does in a day, and then we say, okay, what of this could we put onto a remote person just because they're inexpensive? $3 grand
Right.
for a 40-hour week. and then we put them over there. And then as we move them to the remote person, we document the process so we know how to do it so the remote person can do it. And then we just go right down the list of taking things. And you'd be amazed. Like I have one of my assistants, she sends out, you'll get a handwritten note for being on the podcast. It's going to look like a note that was written by me. You know, I mean, you don't know what my handwriting looks like, but it looks like a handwritten note.
Cursive?
It's cursive. I mean, spoiler alert, it is not. It's got engineers like kind of semi-print because that's what it looks like. But so I have a spreadsheet. I type in there and say, here's the notes I want to send out. Here's what I want to say. And I do it once a week. And then they use a service called Handwritten, and we send out handwritten notes. So you could automate the process of sending every homeowner a thank you handwritten note, and it blows them away. It's like $80 a month, but you can send, I don't know, 100 of these things. I mean, so it's cheaper than stamps. And that's one of the things I never hung out with my friends, you know, from college and stuff like that. So I have my assistant call around to my friends and then my friends' wives and set up dates for my wife and I to hang out with them as couples. They're like, what the fuck is this, Chad? I'm like, dude, do you want to hang out or not? You know what? I'm like, this is the best I can do, man. I was like, it's important for me to see you. And pretty much, if I'm not trying to sell you something or have sex with you, I don't have time to talk to you right now. So here's a handwritten, here's somebody trying to get us connected. And so it's, you know, it's just, and there's so many things you can use an assistant for. And once I learned how to use them, and it's just life-changing. I mean,
it's genius.
And so, and you know, one of the big things I tell people is like, don't email anybody inside your company. Go to an internal messaging system. When you communicate with one of our assistants, you do it all through, as much as possible, you do it through video. Like we use Slack, but you can use Teams, whatever. You just click and you record a video while you're driving down the road, or you have one of your superintendents or something like that. Just walk around the job site, just shooting a video and talking, because they'll talk way more than they'll write. And then that goes straight in. AI will transcribe it. The assistant will take that and turn it into job site documentation, do a daily report. You can multiply. We typically will put an admin with a project manager for a commercial construction company. We can double their output and reduce their hours. It's sick. I mean, it works so well. It's crazy.
Technology. I didn't grow up in that era.
Man, I didn't either, but it's kind of where I have to be, because during COVID, I went to Florida and worked on a job for 11 weeks in a secure building. And so I'd go in the building at 6 a.m. And so I would check into my office and I would come out at lunch, and then I would go back in, and then I'd come back out at about 6:30 or 7 p.m. and people in my office were gone. So I did that for 11 weeks, 6 days a week. It was awesome because it paid for everything in my company. My 1 week there would pay for a week of my entire company expenses. And so it got us through COVID. But when I came back, it had a lot of just cultural problems and stuff like that. And so I ended up cleaning out my whole front office over 3 months. So it was 7 people. And when I built it back, I was like, all right, we're going to document every process, and I'm going to outsource whatever I can outsource. And when you document processes, it is shocking what you can, if you really learn and know how to delegate things, man, you can get rid of just about everything. I mean, and that is my mission now, working with owners. I'm like, man, we are going to try and make you unnecessary, because then you can sell it. But better than that is, if a company can be sold, it's pretty easy to run. And that's, so you just sit and, I don't know, you ever heard of profit first accounting?
Not them, but I do know of a lot. The one company that I went to work for after All Around, I didn't want to mention their name, was All Star, but they also had like private funding and whatever. So I mean, they've sold off. They got a huge chunk. They're still running the day to day, and it's pretty prevalent around here. Like I've seen a few other companies recently that have actually sold.
Oh, it's tremendous. But profit first accounting, like if you take. So it's one of these, I'm a big proponent of it, because the first year I did it, I actually kept more money than I had ever kept, ever. And I didn't make more money as a company, but I kept more money. And the trick is, every time you get paid by a customer in any way, it goes into what's called an income account. And then automatically, if you say, hey man, we're going to do 10% profit this year, and you get $100,000 check, that it all goes in that income account. And every night that income account is zeroed out. 90% of it goes in your operating and 10% goes in your profit account. And you live off of that profit account. Off of that operating account, and you don't touch the profit. And then at the end of every quarter, you and your partner get together, you look at that profit account and you say, okay, well, I'm a big pro to building up an internal line of credit. So half of that goes towards building your internal line of credit until it gets to whatever you agree on is going to be the amount. And then the other half, you just take home, you pay it out. And every time, man, I'd probably say half my clients are like, man, if I pay it out though, I got to pay taxes on it. I'm like, it doesn't matter whether you pay it out or not. Your tax return has nothing to do with what you took home. If it's expenses and all that kind of stuff like that, your taxes are going to say you made how much money. Whether you take it home or not, the government doesn't care, because if your accountant says you made it, you made it. And how many times you get to the end of the year and people are like, man, you made a lot of money, and you're like, where the fuck is it? It'll be at least 10% of it will be in that account. And if you did 4 million, there've been every quarter you'd have had $100,000 in that account. It's crazy. If you're 10%, I don't know what your net profit is, but
about 34.
So you're 30.
Since we switched to the claim work, like again, I'm pretty proficient when it comes to that insurance realm. So I know
34 net.
Oh yeah, 34%. I mean, that's not uncommon. Or if I'm writing an estimate and the company, like the insurance companies, play ball like the way they should be, I do think it's kind of ridiculous. But I mean, we could make up to 50 or something. $100,000 project written, 50 grand. Take home on that, but paying subs and materials and whatnot, it happens. Definitely happens. But yeah, over across the board, I think we're at 33 and change, like it rounds up to 34%.
And that's after salaries and everything.
Yeah, that's it. That's just I can't say that. I'm just saying as a company as a whole. So we'll pay salaries off of that stuff, right? So I mean, if you do, we would pay everything off of that. But yeah, for the whole year, that wouldn't include. That's just like job profit.
Yeah, it's that's your gross. Net probably, so your net might be 15, which would be still tremendous. I mean,
that's still pretty good. I hear what you're saying.
Get 4.
The additional health insurance and car insurance, autos, and whatever else. Yeah, that's probably right.
But yeah, whatever it is, all you do is just whenever you plan for it to be, you take it first. It's based on the whole idea of tithing. It's kind of like tithing for church. And it's life changing. I'm telling you, it's badass. But cool. So we know tons of little tricks like that. But it's mostly just from. It's kind of like, where'd you learn how to fight? Well, I got the shit kicked out of me for however many years. It's like that's not a great way to learn how to fight. That's kind of how I learned how to do all these business things.
There you go. Gotta start somewhere. That's awesome, man.
Well, cool.
Really good. So we'll get your stuff. You'll send that email. We'll have this. Should you need anything else, you got my contact information here, Chad. I look forward to speaking to you again.
Sounds good, man. See you in a year.
Awesome. Thank you, bud. See ya.
Thanks for listening to Get the Intel. We'll see you next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.